figure out. So bear with me. But in this broadcast, I think that I'm labeling it. We're just going to do a chit chat. We're going to talk about the hometown dates a little bit. We're going to talk about the final three. We're going to talk a little bit about uh, Claire and Dale. And we're going to talk about the controversy a little bit. And then we're going to talk about um, what am I saying? We're going to talk about the last thing I wanted to talk about was the fantasy suites. But actually, I think I transposed a couple of them because I want to start out with the previous, discussion that we were having in my video before last. And it's a really short video. It's like a minute long. And I'm talking about Claire and Dale. So it's really interesting because I believe in one of my videos, I believe it's, well, you can always go on and check out my, my channel and see what videos are there. But the video I was talking about is, Claire and Dale should go full steam ahead. The other video I was talking about are also, they're the breakup videos when I was covering them. And the reason why I was saying you should check those out is because in a couple of those videos, I definitely do talk about the fact that could they get back together? They definitely loved each other, and it's definitely something that is a possibility. I think that everything went so fast between them. Obviously, it is the nature of the show. I'll keep going on record and saying that I do believe the show kind of works better for women than men, because men really cannot focus on multiple women at one time successfully. So I think that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. So even though I do watch The Bachelor, I really do like the show, you do notice that there is not a lot of success on the man side. It definitely can be successful for men, and we definitely have seen that with Sean. What's his last? Is it? I forgot his last name, but with Sean, we also see that Ari is successful in it. And there's another example of the guy I'm thinking about. So we do see success stories, but what I think is that there are definitely some, you know, other stories of success. Um, Obviously, I did talk about this a while ago, but this is a few weeks older, but they are talking about them being back together. Do you think it's real? Do you think this is something that will last? Um, is this something that was bound to happen? Um, I know a lot of you have commented. Um, I've had some comments in the comment section about, he did a complete 180. He was so into Claire at one point, and then all of a sudden, he just changed his mind. If you agree with that, I would love to hear why you feel that way. And if you do feel that way, do you feel that them getting back together would be sincere? Would this be sincere? Would this be something that's going to last? Is it something that, you know, is going to be and then a breakup again? Will he be able to slow down a bit and think about children in like the next year or two? I'm sure she doesn't really want to wait, to start having children. So, what do you think about that? I would love to hear your thoughts. I'm not going to read this article, but it's just basically talking about how, we saw them in what's it called? Florida, and they were together and all that good stuff. So, do you think that they are still together, happy together, and it's real? That's the main thing. Do you think it's real? So, I would love to hear your comments about that. Moving right along, I want to talk a little bit about the hometowns and what I thought about that. So, with the hometowns, um, it was really interesting with Serena's P's exit. She exited only after, speaking to her mom. She spoke to her mom about, how she was feeling about Matt, and her mom could tell that she wasn't as in love with her. You know, she knew that it wasn't going to work between her daughter and Matt James. And so, like, I think a mom knows when a daughter's in love. So, I don't know. Do you think that because the mom saw that Serena was not as in love with Matt, with him is what I meant, that it wasn't going to work? Do you think it had anything to do with attraction? Do you think it had anything to do with the fact that she came from being hurt? Because when you think about it, the mom was saying, oh, I think that last relationship really messed you up. That's what the mom said. She said, I think that last relationship really messed you up. And the fact that her mom said that, it makes you realize that sometimes moving on from past relationships may not be as simple as we think they are. There may still be some feelings that one needs to metabolize a bit. Um, there may be some things that, you need to get over more so that you don't take it into the next relationship and, um, you know, I don't want to say ruin, but yeah, ruin it. You don't want to take it into the next relationship and kind of mess that up. So I think the mom identified that that is where she was at, and she wasn't ready to move on just yet. Or even though she was ready to move on, she wasn't ready to move on with Matt James. And, it really did hit Matt close to home because he felt, wow, here's someone that I really do like. And I think he was thinking, like, wow, this is someone that I definitely could see myself with, but she doesn't see herself with me. And at the end of the day, he had to let her go. I know that it, obviously caused him some pain. She obviously was someone that, he really liked. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't going to work. And, the reason why it wasn't going to work is because she just didn't feel the same way that he felt for her. And, I've heard people say, hey, that can be a good thing, you know, that could be a good thing. Sometimes the guy does need to love a little bit more, type of thing. I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think that is true? Um, I think that for them, it was just way too off balance. And the reason why I say that is because even if she loved him just a little bit more, then maybe it could have been a little bit more equally yoked there or so. But I think I think because of the fact that there was no, there was that mismatch, it just wasn't going to work. All right. Now I want to talk about the final three. So, the final three, they are Bree, hope I can remember their names, Michelle, and Rachel. And so here they are. So here's the final three. Now, in my mind, based, it's so funny. I had a conversation. I think my mom a while ago, she watches it from time to time. She knows I like the show. She I think I may have missed an episode as part of it, and she was just like, Michelle, he really seems to really like her a lot, and they really seem really good for each other. And wow, I mean, I have to agree. I think that Michelle is a really good match for him. They see she is really funny and silly behind closed doors. It looks like just having a little drink of water there, lemon water. So I think that they could actually really be good for each other, but will it be that they will end up together? It looked like they had he had a good time, or I should say a good, connection with her family, with Michelle's family. Bree, with Bree, her mom is, having had has a new family. She has a sister, and then a baby sister. So she has a full family life, it looks like, and there seems to be a lot of love there. We didn't meet her father. I don't know if there's like a backstory there. And of course, Rachel, as we know. And Rachel also received like the best date. She went shopping. And and then obviously with the controversy, my whole thoughts are, what is Matt going to do? Let's say Rachel's in the end, she's the last woman standing. What is he going to do? What will Matt James do? That is the question, at least in my eyes. Um, and so we'll see. We'll see how he handles the whole situation with what's going on with Rachel. If indeed they are still together, if they are together, and we'll see what happens with that. But that's that that is what I think the question is. And I posed it in my last video. It's still up. It, obviously was a little bit of more of a heavier topic, but something that definitely needs discussing. I don't shy away from some of those issues because I think that it's so important to talk about things like that. They might be uncomfortable for me to talk about. And unfortunately, it can be uncomfortable for me to talk about some of those things, but they're very real. There's a very real footnote in our country. Slavery, so on and so forth. So it's not like, if you're, from the US, if you're from the UK, so on and so forth, it's a very real thing for your nation as well. So I just think it's definitely something to not shy away from. I covered a lot of those issues in my last video. And obviously, I feel like, Chris Harrison messed up, as I didn't need to say that explicitly, but he knows that. He knows what he said was inappropriate. And he was very much defending Rachel at that moment. Since then, just to talk about things as an update, He did apologize. He apologized to the Black community. He apologized to Rachel, um, Lindsay as well. And he, had an apology about what happened and what went on. And I just think that, that is the first step of ownership. That is the first step to say that you did something wrong, to admit to it, and obviously you move on from there. I didn't know if I needed to send him a message and say, if you're looking for a new host, and then smile, because seriously, who knows what was going to happen. But I think that I think that we're at a point culturally that we're kind of beyond just quickly disposing of people. We've got to stop that, I think. And I'm not excusing, because I think there needs to be a lot of ownership for people, especially for people like him in his position. You need to educate yourself. You need to not turn a blind eye to things or forget where you are and how you got there, and how that may not be for other people, and how other people are treated. And basically what I'm saying is, don't get on a high horse. Stay, as they would say, humble, and look at matters a little bit more, um, I don't want to say the wrong thing. Just look at matters a little bit more soberly, is what I would say. I'm trying to find the right words. And so I think with that, if he can do that, he can move on from this, and we could really get to a better place, not only with the show, but in society as well. So the last thing I want to talk about, and I believe this is the last thing. I hope my voice is sounding okay. I didn't really take that much water, and I feel like I might be straining a little bit. So I want to talk a little bit more about the final three. But before that, actually, Women Tell All. I guess people were holding each other accountable. I don't really know what to say about that. It was interesting. It was definitely more talking and less transition to different conversations, because it wasn't that big of a group. Times are definitely, that is just a sign of a sign of the times, where the group wasn't big at all. And so there was a lot of talking, and there were a lot of kind of like back and forth conversations. Some people got time on the couch that I don't know if under normal circumstances they would have, to be honest with you. And there was definitely a more generous time on the couch appointments, happening there. And I think that's just, like I said, because of the fact of, where we are right now with the pandemic, and maybe there weren't a lot of women participating in it. I don't know, perhaps. But with the Women Tell All, I do think that it was, I don't even know how to read it. I guess it was okay. It was entertaining. It was definitely something that was, obviously we all look forward to it. I think I was actually really looking forward to the bloopers this year, because Um, I think I was. But one thing about the Women Tell All that I found interesting is that a lot of the women were very, like, they were in defense of someone saying, oh, the house was a bunch of mean girls, sort of thing. And I just thought that was really interesting because, you know, I don't know if that's necessarily not true. There were a lot of strong personalities this season. She was a strong personality. She had a very strong personality. There obviously were the controversies, the kind of like instant exits almost, and just some people in between. I mean, I definitely remember that scene where the girl from the woman from the former Bachelor, or I don't even recall what season she was on. She tried to come back, and they ladies were not having it. They called her the B word. They were like, "What are you doing?" and all this other stuff, and it wasn't a very polite or kind conversation. And I guess, you know, that can be understood, but I just thought the way they came off was a bit mean. And there were a lot of kind of like mean sort of girl conversations happening. So, what are you going to do? You know, and I mean, it's you. Yes, I agree. You don't have to say bullying, maybe not using the term bullying because maybe bullying is a little, we use that a little too liberally when it comes to certain topics that it doesn't need to be used for. But there were some mean girlish activities happening, and I don't think that they can be actually mad that someone was calling them out about it. So back to the final three. These are the girls: Michelle, the ladies, Michelle, Bree, and Rachel. And we're coming up to fantasy suites. It looks like it's getting really intense, because, you know, fantasy suites doesn't always have to be like something, you know, rated R happening. It could be that they are just having a conversation. However, you know, these women find Matt James to be very attractive. Michelle looks like she's ready to go. And so do the others in terms of spending, guys, get your head out the gutter, in terms of spending quality time with Matt James and talking and so forth and so on, doing their adult, you know, having their adult conversations and private time. And I think there is nothing wrong with that. Obviously, this is part of the show. But, you know, I understand when you are dating someone, you don't necessarily want them having that sort of activity with multiple people. Um, I don't need to get into a whole conversation of why that would not only be uncomfortable, but potentially dangerous. But, you know, I can totally understand not being okay with that if that is where Rachel's coming from, and that's why there was this drama happening with the upcoming episode. Oh my gosh, it's on, so I have to go. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens and how everything goes, and we'll be back to talk about it. So I don't even, to be honest, I don't even know if this is live or if this is recorded. I'm still learning. I'm still learning this this software. So maybe this has been live. So anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.